Hello and welcome to today. As last time we walked you through a little bit of the soul signature, the leadership soul signature. Today we're going to take you through parts of the Success Codex that we'll also be exploring on leading from within. So I'm going to talk you through part of Nicola's Codex, and she can share with us kind of how it's landed for her and how it helps support you. So the Success Codex itself might be something that is new to you. It does derive from a combination of human design and astrology. So some of the aspects may be a little bit more familiar to you when we get into it. But these are some of the tools that we're going to be using to support you on your journey through the 12 weeks. So, hello,
Exciting.
Nicola.
Hello. I'm excited. I'm excited to revisit this because obviously we looked at this quite some time ago now. And I know it resonated so much at the time. So I'm really excited to have a look at it again, actually.
Have another look at it. Yeah, so let me share. So I am a share slidey person. Nicola managed to like just riff on it, but I'm a share slidey person. So I'm going to share my screen and show you what we're actually going to be looking at. So, the Success Codex as a whole is 13 gateways that are utilizing and harnessing the energies that come from the planets within our astrology and our human design. And each gateway has a specific theme that supports you in. Now, there's actually 13 of them, but for this particular thing, I've pulled out just the few that we're going to be looking at, which will help support you through your leadership journey. So, the whole premise of leading from within is we're going to be looking and exploring and helping support you with leading yourself, and then that leads on to leading others. So, obviously, at the top, we've got the leadership, the leadership gateway. And then underneath, we'll also be looking at the North Node, which is the purpose, which is kind of the energy that you're moving towards in your lifetime, which becomes a big theme as you are moving into this sort of second phase. We've always got the sun right in the middle because that's our biggest energy and can be our anchor through all these times of change. The energies I thought would also support us on this journey is rebirth, because if we are looking to change, it's part of the transformation path, and we're moving through into a different level of us, a different iteration, trying to hold different energies. We can look at how that's going to support us. And then the permission is all about the energy that supports us, giving ourselves permission to take that next step to move forward in our transformation. And obviously, all leadership, a lot of that comes to do with the impact that we're having out in the world. So we've got the leadership at the top, we've got our energetic impression that we leave on people, and we've got our expression, which is more of the vocal, the voice that we're using. So these are the pieces that we're going to be looking at to support you through the whole 12 weeks and help support you when working with Nicola's soul leadership, soul signature. So today we're just going to have a little sneaky peek at Nicola's leadership path gateway and the sun. So if we move down here to this, so what we're looking at here is kind of the energy that is innately there, that's your genius that you can tap into to support you within this piece. But also, what we look at is the approach, which comes from, if you know your human design, the line number that goes with it. So, even if there were other people who had gate 48 here, there would potentially, there's six different approaches that we take to actually working with the energy. So we marry the two together, and then we come up with this kind of leadership signature of energy that's going to support us. So for Nicola, for you, it's all about the depth of your knowledge.
And that totally resonates with me, Katie, because and when I look at the aligned clue, which is knowing, and specifically also when I look at the unaligned cue, which is insecure. And the reason I say that is because I've worked with energy for so much of my life, and obviously that forms a basis in all of the work that I do. So much of what I know comes from within me. So it's not based in external validation. It's not actually based in certainty from anything other than myself. So when I look at my unaligned Q as being insecure, that is absolutely right. When I am insecure in who I am, in the knowledge that I hold, I find it very difficult to take a step. So I have to come back to that aspect that my knowledge and my knowing is within me. It's not learned externally to me. And when I saw that, that was like a beautiful validation of what I know to be true, which sometimes our mind says, well, no, because you haven't learned this. You haven't learnt this outside of yourself, but actually energetically, it comes from within me. Yeah, so it was perfect.
Yeah, so that's the thing. Often with this work, it isn't necessarily telling us things we don't already know, but it's bringing it more to the surface and it's letting you go, oh, okay, yes, I recognize with that within myself. And then for me, how working with my codex helped me was it's like I can spot it quicker when I've gone into that unaligned cue, when I've gone into that insecure feeling. It's like, oh, hang on, no, I know what's happening here. I can get myself back along this path quicker. And so what we also have with this is this kind of guiding question. So what knowledge can you pull from? So if you're feeling insecure, it's like, okay, what actually can I pull from here to create my success? So obviously it is the Success Codex, the lens that we're filtering this energy through is kind of moving forward a sort of business lens, success lens, but just the energy in general is, you know, making sure that you trust your knowing and if you're feeling insecure, moving out of it. But then what we do is we would lean into the approach that Nicola works with this energy. Like I said, there's six of them. But for Nicola, again, it's almost like a duplication of the same energy because the line one approach is again about depth, depth of knowledge. So we're just doubling up here with how you sort of do this. So another thing with the line one energy is really just bringing in that extra layer of again that knowing that you know enough, trusting, and also bringing a level of originality. So it's all about the foundations,
Yeah.
but a creativity that's coming with that. And like your legacy is this kind of impact of foundations and creations and allowing yourself to share your unique take on that knowledge that you have. So it's not always just about how much you know with this energy, with working with that approach. It's your original take on it, which is beautiful with the soul signatures.
Well, it is, and just as you were saying that, Katie, my thoughts were going to the fact that really my foundations, if I look at that, have been all of the work that I've done energetically, all of the work that I've done through holistic practices through my life, all of the spiritual development I've done. And that has created the foundation, which actually, when initially angelic signatures and then soul signatures were channeled, that gave me all of that energetic resource in my earlier years. That provided the foundations for me to trust what I was receiving, to trust what was being channeled, and trust it enough to actually take it forward and start to bring it into form in the world. So when I look at that sometimes when we think of leadership, we think of stepping out, don't we? But sometimes leadership is actually shoring up all of those foundational pieces that actually help us to stand in our authority and actually step forward from that place. And I see that directly, certainly from my energetic background and in terms of bringing soul signatures forward.
Love that. Yes. So that's part of something we're going to be looking at. Obviously, this is Nicola's, but we would be looking at your version of that and seeing how that can help support you. And it might be something you haven't actually leaned into or explored, or it might be something you recognize and you think, oh, I knew, like, yes, I knew it. I can lean into it more. I can access it more.
And I think I'm just going to intro. I think what it is as well, with all of the wealth of information knowledge we have about us, it is about being able to take off all the distractions and
Mm.
actually focus in on, this is a key piece, which really supports me leading myself, really understanding how I lead from that innate place within me.
Yeah, and then another piece that we can look at, which we haven't necessarily covered, I don't think we covered this when we chatted, but part of what we can also be looking at, and I can bring in this too, is if you understand your human design, or I can help share, is the center that this gateway is actually in, which for you is in the spleen, which is a very intuitive center. It's all about the intuition. So that's bringing another layer in of trusting your intuition and the signals. Like you said, it's getting outside of your head. This information is coming from another place in the body. It's coming from that intuition, from that the oldest kind of energy center in the system, the spleen, that instinctual knowledge that is coming up for you. Like you said, it's not the knowledge that's coming up. It's a combination here because the line one is about learned energy, but the gateway itself is this instinctual knowledge that comes up from that center, the splenic center. So it's like really stepping into and acknowledging that, and that in itself can help you to get outside of your head.
Oh, but it's interesting because when you talk about learned energy, sometimes what I think about that is when we actually take something and we start to embody it, we then learn it in life, but through our own understanding, our own path, as opposed to it necessarily being something that is learned from outside of us, if that makes sense.
Mm, yeah, definitely. So, alongside of this, I did mention everything at the core of the codex. You will always find the sun, and it has different lenses that we would use it for. But in this particular context, we're looking at visibility, because in terms of leadership, it is how we are out in the world presenting ourselves potentially as well. And so one of Nicola's core energy here is this adaptability, the dancer being fluid or floundering. So the fluid is the ability to accept, to adapt to others, and the floundering is being so adverse to structure that you lose yourself and become ungrounded.
And I absolutely see that as well. So for me, I don't like the structure to be so rigid that it has no flexibility within it. And yet, if I have no structure, I do flounder. So for me, that I can look at that in my work. I can look at it in my day-to-day life in terms of how I lead myself. If there is no routine, there is no aspect of discipline within the day, then I end up floundering. I end up not having a focus, so therefore not being productive. So that's something that I've had to learn in terms of working with the level of structure, the level of discipline, the level of routine that enables me to flow and yet be fluid enough within it to actually work intuitively and in a way that supports me. But to make sure that that is in there somewhere, because otherwise I flounder and I'm flapping around and literally nothing gets achieved.
Yeah, it's an interesting gateway, the 15, because it is all around, wanting to dance to the rhythm of your own drum and having this, it's like you have this own internal rhythm that matches you, and that allows you to be this flexible and move through things, and it helps with embracing the change, because if you are adaptable, then as change comes, as circumstances change, you're able to dance with it instead of fighting it, resisting it. But like you said, some element of structure needs to still be in there, otherwise you do become ungrounded.
Yeah.
So for somebody who maybe has this in their pathway but hasn't quite lent into what that means for them, you can start to actually recognize, okay, when am I'm floundering here. What do I need to bring in? What is going to support me through all of this,
Yeah.
as I move through? So, with the approach that we would take with working with this energy, so for you, obviously, this does come from the fact that your 2/4 profile, your line two. It's all about your passion, and but it's all about natural energy. So again, when we add these two together, where everything that you're doing is bringing your passion in. Like, what is your passion? Leveraging your natural gifts. We're not forcing. We're not trying. We're just really letting yourself, or allowing yourself
Mm.
to shine your passion, which is soul signatures. But
Yeah,
also, if we tie it to the structure, we would still say, okay, well, how can we tie that into the structure that you bring in? What is this, your natural structure, your natural kind of way, not a forced structure that somebody else is, because we're tying the two pieces together.
yeah, and it's interesting because that does lend itself directly to my leadership soul signature, which is devotion. So if I change passion for devotion, yes, I have to find the devotion aspect in what I'm doing to be able to commit to it fully. So, what is it that I'm really passionate about in any strand of what I do, and even for me personally, not just from a legacy or from a business perspective, I need to find the thing that really makes me devoted to what I'm doing, and then I am able to bring in the pieces behind me. If I can't find the bit that makes me devoted, then I find it difficult to actually commit, irrespective of anything else. So that approach, absolutely, yeah.
So, yeah, like I said, so if you are thinking about what is this structure that you're trying to bring in, it's like, okay, well, how does that devotion to whatever that piece is help you to stick to the structure, to enjoy the structure, to
Mm.
naturally follow that structure?
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah. So that's just a little sort of snippet into the kind of depth that we're going to be going into in the energies that we're going to start bringing in to support you with working with these things. Um, like I said, we will go into the other ones. So, what we also can start to see is where is there the correlation and the instances of saying, okay, if we just quickly, having just listened to everything we've just said about Nicola's leadership and her knowing, the approach that she would use to working with giving herself permission is unleash your knowing. So then we start to say, oh, okay, it's there's lots of similarities, and we can start to see where the patterns are and how are things kind of building up to create this system of energy that's going to support us
Yeah.
to, as you were saying before we came on, this inside instead of the outside.
Yeah, so leading from here as opposed to, leading from here and looking at what everyone else is doing, but also that leading from that external place of noise. And, the reason that 12 weeks is so important is because you look at something like your Success Codex, you look at something like your leadership signature, and everything makes sense. But unless you then go a layer deeper and a level deeper and start to look at actually what it means for you, how you put it together, how you actually live it in life, what steps you back, unless you actually do the work around those patterns, it becomes incredible information, but it stays as incredible information. And obviously, what we want it to do, because we know it's powerful this way, is we want it to make a difference to actually how you step forward and understanding the patterns that really help you to do that, the energies that help you to do that, but also understanding maybe the things that step you back. Those are the pieces of gold, and looking actually, well, how do we support that within life for you? And how do we put things in place, and how do you put things in place that naturally start to empower that innate leadership energy within you? Yeah.
Yeah. It's like you said that you can download all this stuff, you can get the information, but what we really want to try and help you do over these 12 weeks is to make it count.
Yeah,
Make
absolutely.
it count.
Make it count and make it make a difference,
Yeah.
because that's the thing. And there's so much amazing information that you can find online now about all sorts of different things. But the key to it is actually implementing it, it's embodying it, it's following through with it, it's actually making it make a difference. And that actually is also, and that's what we're here to support you with all of the stuff we're going to share. It's not about the information we're sharing. It's about let's take it deeper and make it make a difference.
Yeah, it's carving out the time and the space to focus on it. And
Mm.
actually, because without that focus, my son is focus, is without that time and space to actually focus in on it, that change isn't going to happen, is it?
No.
So we would love to invite you in if you found any of this or the previous one when we talked about the soul signature piece. We'd love to invite you in for the journey. I will pop all the links below. And if you haven't heard of the Codex before, you can go and get your Codex. Nicola's also running her 7 days of soul signatures from the 1st of December if you want to jump in and have a little play with that. But yeah, I think that's it from us for now. If you have any questions, you can get in touch with either of us, and
You know where we are.
hopefully we will see you soon.
Yeah, brilliant. Take care.
Bye.
Bye.